Hello and welcome to Experience Share. It's a Pokemon podcast starring me, Tandorus,
Landorus,
aka Tanner Greenring, and I am joined, as always, by my co-host, Tornadosh. Tornadus.
Straightforward.
Aka Joshua Fjellstead, and we are joined this week, as is our tradition for Chasing Waterfall episodes, by Daviary.
Okay, so I'm not Thundurus. Okay, that's fine.
No, I couldn't make it work.
Couldn't figure
That's
that one out.
good because a Thundurus it's a sore point for me. I need a Thundurus in Pokemon Go, and I've never gotten one. So I'm glad I'm not Thundurus.
Oh, you're a go-head too. Wow.
Oh yeah, you kidding me?
Do you have a middle name, David? We can bleep it.
Lawrence.
No.
Lawrence doesn't work either.
Thunder
to know.
Thunder Sims. Thunder Sims.
David Thundurus.
Yeah, I just couldn't make it work, so I went with Daviary
Fine. Braviary.
instead. It's a Pokemon show. It's a Pokemon podcast. We play through each of the Pokemon games, gym by gym, week by week. We are in the final episode of Pokemon White and Black.
What a long journey it's been.
What a long journey. It's rare that we've ever had to do. In fact, I think this is the first time we've ever had to do 2 Chasing Waterfall episodes.
Yeah, and I don't think any of them. Well, gold and silver, but of a normal game. It's been a while since we had more than 10 episodes.
Yeah, what a rich ending.
And I think probably the highest. We'll get to it, but I think probably the record-breaking levels. As well,
levels for sure
of all seasons.
Yeah. Whoa, look at your little levels there, Josh.
Yeah, look at you too. I'm a little more balanced, though.
God, what are your levels? Jesus.
74s across the board for Josh.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. So I'm around where you guys are. Okay, that's fine.
It's not too bad. So we're in the end game here. We've defeated the Elite Four twice now, but the Pokemon Company went ahead and added a whole bunch of content to the end of this game. They've added 3 additional cities here?
I think so.
Like a whole third of the map has been unlocked to us.
And like multiple other little dungeons throughout it.
It's a little grindy, a little mazy.
It just
little
seems
fetch
like
questy.
It was like a road to nowhere. I don't want to step inside, I don't want to come on inside. It's just endless set pieces, and we've already beaten the main game, and it's like
rich set pieces too, not just like little dinky
they do
color
not
swaps
phone it
on
in.
existing set pieces. Like, we will get to that in just a moment. We are joined by David Sims once again, and David, you've got quite the Zoom background that I want to dig into. But will you tell us a little bit about your character and your journey?
My character is a very tired person who's sick of walking around Unova. His name is... I just called him D. I had
to replace my running shoes.
New Yorkers walk a lot.
They do walk a lot. In what way is this New York? That is horseshit.
I don't know. Josh keeps insisting.
I know
it really spirals at the end, right. But... I mean, I think it's like, I was saying that it's like New York State. I think everyone who says that it's New York City only is crazy.
But New York State doesn't have a desert resort.
Like, you could construct an argument for like New York State, where it's like Hudson Valley, this part.
Yes.
But, I think there's something to be said for the USA argument. We had a couple
it's just America
that are about like...
Right.
It's America. I like the comparison of I believe it was Nimbasa City to Vegas.
Yeah.
And there, if you're considering it as all like a cross section of the U.S., then I suppose it's fine.
The desert thing is just, I get it as like, well, we need a place for ground type Pokemon, but also you have seasons, so you could just make it like, they're only out in the summer or something.
No, because the season thing is a scam.
Yeah, the season thing is rough. God, I would be so furious if I couldn't catch certain Pokemon in winter season.
It's perfectly nice for atmosphere that they have the seasons,
fair,
but it can't matter enough because then it can't be like, check in next month. Sorry, no vanilla
checking in
right now
4
or whatever.
months.
Right. I guess it's I'm fine with multiple environments. That's how Pokemon games should be. I don't have a problem with that. But it's sort of a vague America at best. is how I would put it. Look, my character.
Who's this young adventurer journeying through Unova?
I decided to be like an urbanite
who loves his male Gothitelle.
I do love my male Gothitelle, and we're going to talk about Gothitelle.
That's David's background on the Zoom. Yeah,
I decided to be an urbanite. I decided to. This is a lazy thing that I did, but it was my naming convention. I named all my Pokemon after avenues in Brooklyn where I live, which is actually kind of a fun naming convention. I never tried it before, and it was fun. And it was simple.
A lot of Dutch
Because
names.
my thing is I get hung up on, like what Josh got hung up on, where it's like you're doing Seinfeld, but you're like, wow, I don't want to call anyone Elaine until I'm sure, like, I want this Pokemon in my
Can't let
party.
Kramer die. Yeah.
Right. So this sort of took it out of there a little bit, took the stakes out of it a little bit. So that's really all I had going on character-wise. I don't get as role-play as you do, Tanner. But
your guy called anything? Your
called D.
Your man?
And
D.
I just called him D.
Drop the Gringus.
That's the thing. I just became... But then it was hilarious because, the villain of this game is also a single-lettered person.
Oh, sure.
So I inadvertently, I did not know I was setting myself up to face off against N. But it made it funny in the end game when everyone's like, D, N, you have to fight now. You have to, decide who is the best. Whose philosophy will triumph. So I'm D.
I believe it was D's. D wins.
Yeah, so... Look, guys, I played Pokemon Black. That was my cartridge. And I did come around on this game. And I don't know what you guys think of this game. And I do think it's an important game. And I think it's good that they did like a Pokemon game at this point in history where they were like, let's just, all new Pokemon, wipe the slate clean, don't rely on old faves. I like it. But this game... I found to be kind of a slog at first. I really was not enjoying myself.
Yeah, we talked about this a little bit with Tony last week, which you will not have heard because we are weeks ahead. But it is, I think, definitely my least favorite Pokemon game yet. Not to say I didn't enjoy it. Like, it was fine. Like, I had fun with it. I had a good time. I like some of the weird new Pokemon. I think the new character models are mostly ugly, or I think the way that they the way they render in this like new system is really ugly. But yeah, I think it's a fine game. It's a fine Pokemon game, but it's not. It doesn't hold anything to the previous 4 gens of games that we've played.
I did definitely not enjoy it as much as I remember on my first playthrough, and I also don't think that I ever did this last part.
If I can diagnose the problem, I think it's like this game is showing off. Was it the first 3DS game? Is that where we are
think
at?
so.
Or no, is it
I think
a DS game? It's just whatever. It's showing off what it can do, right?
It definitely feels like the bridges in particular make it definitely feel like a 3DS game.
It's trying to be expansive, and it's trying to do more than those early generations of games had the processing power to do, but it just feels bloated. And there's, I was really tannering and I was hammering A all the time, and I would go into fucking houses. And, in a city, like I'd come to a new city. Oh my God, great. There's like 18 buildings for me to go in. And you go in and there's like 8 people to talk to. And I'm like, oh, what does this person have to say? And the person's like, I just love Pokemon. And I'm like, okay. And I go, I'll see what about this guy? And the other guy's like, did you know the items can be used on Pokemon?
Don't talk to these freaks, David.
Well, this is the thing. I have the completionist tendency.
Same.
Yeah.
That's my problem.
This leg is rough.
There are just buildings in Undella Town that just literally don't have anyone in them.
No one in them. There's so many buildings in this leg where there's no one in the building. I can't wait to talk
about fucking White Forest, by the way.
Well, I of course attended Black City, not White Forest, but this
Black City was a ghost town.
Yeah. This segment that we are doing about this sort of final like appendix of the game, it's a perfect example where it's like, yeah, it's nice that you've built out this sort of big post game. That's great. I applaud the theory. It's just, I'm exhausted. I'm not, as much as some of the town designs are cool and it's fun to see some different kinds of Pokemon. Like I just feel like I'm spinning my wheels, and that's how I felt for a lot of this game.
The sets are nice. I was just like, cool. I mean, I think that I would have liked this more if there was any chance that like I could just leisurely, like maybe I would change one of my Pokemon out and like train something new. But it's also like with the schedule, I was like, I can't, like, I'm max repelling this entire fucking thing. Like,
that's the thing.
I don't need any of these old gen Pokemon. I did want to keep at least an all Gen 5 team, but still, it's like, even at the time when this came out, I just like, what's so compelling about me continuing to like go on for another 15 hours, maybe 10, 15?
Look,
have either of you ever played Half-Life 2?
No.
Of course, one of the greatest video games of all time. Absolutely.
The end of Half-Life 2 is you've got this gravity gun that you've had the whole game.
Yes.
And it's super fun. Like, you can pick up
boxes,
circular blades,
items,
and like
right.
shoot them at zombies. You know,
it's
super
cool.
fun. The end of Half-Life 2, you fall into like a gravity well or something, and your gravity gun gets super powered. Now you can like pick up dudes and like throw them off of buildings.
Hell yeah.
And it's like,
it's so good.
You literally just march through the final level with this hyper-powered gun, like picking up like giant robots and throwing them off of buildings or shooting them at other giant robots. And that's it. Like, you do that. That's the final level of the game. And that is what this should have been. This should have been like, I am the grand champion of Unova region. I am super powered. I have the highest powered Pokemon in the world. Like, it should be a fun, like, jaunt through the rest of the game. And instead, it's a slog. It's like, here's a maze. Here's a maze that you have to like figure out how to walk through. And you only have 190 steps to figure out how to get where you're going before like water shoots you out of this.
It's irrelevant that you're the most powerful trainer in the region, if not, the world at the time. Mm-hmm. We're still going to make you fight level 47 Braviaries and shit. What are you talking
worse,
about?
We're going to make you fight Cynthia, who has like all level 75 like Hoss Pokemon, and you're going to struggle for the first time.
Yeah, it's either just like maybe
game.
you're going to get crushed or it's a steamroll.
Right. It should just be fun.
Yeah.
They forgot to make it fun.
It's not that fun.
This endgame.
The Seven Sages thing is a little, kind of fetchy, right? Like it doesn't. You don't really feel like you're.
What's in it for me
something.
with these sages being apprehended? By the way,
exactly.
Like, what do I care? Why am I doing Looker's job? ACAB, fuck this.
There's the Looker, jeez, and there's the weird battling of some lady with like a level 72 Weedle, and I'm like, what is this?
Oh yeah.
I don't know how you do this, because like this is one approach, right, where it's like, hey, there's actually like a whole quarter of the map you haven't seen yet, and everyone in there is way more powerful. They've Pokemon are levels 50s, 60s, 70s, like it's going to be for a post Elite Four person. But I still feel like this chump where I was like, I should have like a fucking cape and a cane. I'm the champion, like how in these games, like, and this is like a recurring thing that I think is going to carry on in these other games. Like the champion, the existing champion becomes a character. And he comes and says hello to you. And he's like this sort of big figure. I want to be that. I don't want to be just like talking to some rando who's like, I love backpacks. And I'm like, well, I'm the champion of Pokemon. Are you not impressed by that? Like, I'm king of Unova.
Who are you to bother me?
Yeah, right. Fuck you. Right. Pay me.
I think the closest this endgame gets is the Rich Mansion. Because, like, if you fully do the Abyssal Ruins, if you get all the relics and all the stuff in there and then go back to the riches and sell it all, like, you're making millions of Poke credits, which is, like, the most we've ever seen. At least the most I've ever seen.
I maxed out 99999.
And that's when you get to the point where you're like, oh, I'm like, I have beaten this game. Like, I can go and buy everything I've ever wanted to buy. I'm going to buy all of the carbos and proteins and, like, max out the stats on all of my Pokemon. Like, that is what I want. I want to feel like I have, like, accomplished something. Yeah. And it's a challenge. You want, I guess their goal is to give people enough content to keep them playing Pokemon until the next Pokemon game comes out, right? Like, it's not really designed for
right.
For the way
You
it's
could
like
easily
they
They can't do DLC, so they have to just immediately give you all of this to work with. And I think later generation games do not have to deal with this problem, because in Sword and Shield, there's plenty of reason that you would keep playing, because you can play competitively whenever you want.
Right.
So
and
sure.
they do DLC for that thing, right? But
Right.
you could easily sink 200 hours into this game, right? Maybe 250. Like if you actually did everything and then were like, okay, and now I will try to catch every single Pokemon that I can. Right.
Oh,
You
yeah.
could never stop playing this game. It wouldn't be that fun, but you know.
Let's start at the beginning, which is Route 11. Josh, you have a note here?
Well, did you notice that all, or like, I think 2 or 3 of the trainers on this route are speaking French?
Oh, what? Yeah. For a
was that
second, I was
about?
like,
These
did I
frogs?
accidentally switch my game to French?
Yeah, I was like, what happened here? I had to Google it. I had to make sure they weren't talking
Why
trash.
are they French?
They're just travelers. There's some Germans at one point, and I think Italians, if not on this route, on like Route 15, I think, as well. Fortunately, intrepid Redditors solved this, and they're actually quite polite. One of them
really?
says, "Let me duel you so that I can burn our encounter in my memory." Or how I'm not doing a French accent. That's not.
I've been to France
good for
a
me.
few times, and I think polite would be pretty low on my list of
Right.
descriptors.
That's why I wanted to check what they were saying, because I also, of all the countries I've been to in Europe, the French were the least polite and least interested in anyone who wasn't French talking to them.
and just trying to get through this interaction.
Right. It's
Listen.
like, oh, you want me to be the American stereotype? Well, then here I come.
Yeah. I'm going to put on my cowboy boots, my Von Dutch hat, hit the town.
But they're fine. They it's like the landscapes we admire, the people we've encountered, the Pokemon with whom we've crossed. They will rest forever in our memories, and like whatever.
that's nice.
So yeah, they're fine. They were not actually trying to start some shit. And I have
I thought your
nothing
note
else to say about this
literally
route.
meant that there were actual frogs here, and I'm glad to hear that you just are using a slur and I didn't miss like an entire section of the game where there's frogs. But
There have been plenty of frogs in Unova. Palpitoads.
oh yeah, ugh, too many.
Yeah.
Yeah, Route 11 is the bridge between the pre-game and the post-game.
Yeah.
The game and the post-game. Because the real action kicks off at Village Bridge,
Oh yeah.
which brings us into a whole section of Unova we have not experienced yet.
It's a freak show.
Before you even get on the bridge, you can kind of hang a quick left to kind of go to this little this little plaza, this little like park at the foot of the bridge, where I encountered a guy who was my trainer danger of the week.
Who we got?
There's a bald man here basking in the sun, and if you talk to him, and keep in mind you're a kid, you're a child, this bald man says, "During the day I sunbathe, during the night I moonbathe. Nature sinks into my body."
Oh my god.
So that creep is there, apparently nude. He didn't
moonbathing.
present his yeah, he's moonbathing.
He doesn't actually fight you, does he? He just talks.
He
to
doesn't fight you. No. He doesn't fight you. He's too busy. He's not a fighter. He's a lover, you know? And he loves nature. He loves sun soaking into his body.
I might take it a step further and sort of issue a trainer danger for all of Village Bridge, to be honest.
Sort of a weird area. huh?
There's a lot of freaks in here. Did you meet this person who's way out on like the east side above the bridge across some water named Durlith? And Durlith goes, "Fwee, fwee, fweet, fweet." And then
I vaguely remember this.
the only things that come out of my mouth are my whistle tunes and something to complain about.
This
That's
is-
the
And
entire
then
interaction.
this bridge is a meeting place for people like me who like to complain. So everybody here has some fucking problem.
Sounds like a good place for the three of us to hang out, complaining about this game. Yeah, and the Patrat girl.
yeah, with her 4 Patrat. Yeah.
The thing is, like, there are, 6 or 7 buildings on Village Bridge. Most of them are empty. The ones that are not empty are just boring, like, to David's point earlier. Like, I love Pokemon.
There's
Like,
a
great.
fisherman who asks you to join the hip waders, and I was like, hell yeah. And
Sure.
then he's like, okay, you're the second member. I'm like, oh, okay. And then
Welcome
you
to
just
the club.
back out slowly.
Yeah.
Yeah, did you guys become waiters?
Oh yeah.
God, yeah, I did that.
I was expecting it to be on my like trainer ID, but it wasn't.
Same.
The Patrat girl is a big fish in a small pond. She's ready to kind of leave Village Bridge behind and go and make it in the big city.
Her vagabond shoes are longing to stray.
With her team of trained Patrats. And then there's the Village Bridge restaurant, which is under the bridge, where you were put to work. It's like a memorization game. You have to memorize everyone's orders and then bring them their orders. And it's hard if you have bad memory, like I do. And all you get at the end of this journey is a lumberry.
Yeah, it's
all that hard labor just to get a lumberry.
The berry thing continues. I mean, this is an insult at this stage of the game to give me a berry. And I'm doing manual labor? I'm the champion.
It's like being served by Salt Bay, right? It's like this is an experience.
Yeah.
Like you should all be like falling on your knees before me. But yeah.
It's what makes no sense. Should they be like, you are now the champion of Unova, except for that part in the Southwest that's, everyone there is super powerful. We're scared of them, and they don't count, and they don't have gyms or anything. Like, it's just not thematically appropriate. That's my opinion.
I wonder if like it's the real world, where it's like every other city in this Unova region has a gym, and it's all Pokemon centric, and it's like we're here to do Pokemon, and here they don't have gyms, and it's like, well, I guess like Pokemon are like a thing, but like it's not what we're focused on here. We're focused on like stage shows and fine cuisine served out of trucks.
I got a fun facty.
Do you?
Yeah.
Hit me.
I wanted to look into this because the man who sings under the bridge... I mean, there's a bunch of, like, singers.
Sure.
Durleth sings. There's a man under the bridge who actually does kind of a lovely tune. I isolated it to, like, listen to it.
Under the Bridge a RHCP song?
Of course. That's a classic.
That's what they're referencing here.
No, I think so one of the other residents says all their names, and they're like the famous 4 musicians from Village Bridge whose names spell out dark, D-A-R-K, which is one thing. I saw this on Reddit, and then Bulbapedia actually confirmed it, but I guess that in the English adaptations, these 4 singers are named after science fiction writers. August Derleth, Dean Koontz, Robert Aikman, and Richard Russo. So
who
that was kind of
people?
an interesting, like...
I know who Dean Koontz is. I haven't heard of August.
Richard Russo is not a sci-fi writer. He's just a writer.
All right, well, then they got part wrong. But I didn't know who enough of them were that... Derleth was an H.P. Lovecraft publisher, but...
He did win the Philip K. Dick Award, David, which is something that they typically only give out to...
Wait, Richard Russo won the Philip K. Dick Award for what? That's like, he wrote like Empire Falls and fucking...
Subterranean Gallery, his second novel.
Does it make any difference that it's Richard Paul Russo?
Oh, it's probably some different...
So there's
it's a
2
different
Richard
guy.
Russos?
There we go. This guy's a sci-fi writer. Look, his... books are called Inner Eclipse and Terminal Visions and shit like that. He's not like a sort of lighthearted American, humor guy. Okay. All right, that's that solved.
Route 12, I don't have an You Make Me Barf here because every Pokemon that made me barf on this route has been featured in that segment before, but it is a barfy route.
This has to be your barf breaking season, I think.
Oh yeah, I mean it's a barfy game.
Very, very buggy, this route.
Because of that one episode, I think the 6th one where you nominated like 6 barfs.
I know,
and I did too.
Yeah, Route 12 is full of previous gen barfers. There's Sunkern and Sunflora and Dunsparce and Cherim and Pinsir.
We're not going after Sunkern again. Sunkern rules. Sunkern's the coolest.
You have to admit it's ugly.
No, it's not. Okay, you know what? I'm going to unleash this right now. You're too harsh.
Clear the runway.
This time. You've been too harsh. Too many barfers. I don't like this game. It's like, I like the game okay. It's a Pokemon game. I like it, but like it's my least favorite Pokemon game so far.
Yeah.
But I think the Pokemon design in this game is really good. I think I
know. Listen,
rose to the challenge.
You know this. You
all
host
new.
several podcasts. You know this. When you have a segment that people expect you to do.
No, don't give me that. You've been sinking your teeth.
Sometimes you dig for it.
You haven't been digging. You're barfing on every Pokemon you see.
No, I revel in it. I love it.
Love it.
It washes over me like a beautiful wave each week. I'm like, oh, look how ugly that Pokemon is. I can't wait to disappoint people.
You went after Cubchoo. Like, that's genuinely
I knew somebody was going to come out of the woodwork.
Gross. Cubchoo is it's got boogers hanging out of his nose,
so
David.
What? Okay. So wipe him off.
Boogers.
Well, look, my whole
don't
team...
get me started on your disgusting male Gothitelle.
Well, my whole team... I feel like half my team is barfs for you guys. Like, you got...
Oh, you're going to make me deal with a Gothitelle?
Oh boy, you sure are. But I'm trying to think of other ones you've gone after now. I'm looking at
you have to admit Dunsparce is not.
No, Dunsparce
a
sucks.
beautiful
Dunsparce
Pokemon.
is indefensible.
Beautiful.
Because Dunsparce has nothing going for it, right? Like, you would never train it. It doesn't have like
it doesn't evolve.
It's just normal type. Like, it's useless.
Yeah.
Well, you think Stunfisk is good, David? You like Stunfisk?
Stunfisk I hate. Stunfisk sucks.
Okay, good. We're getting back on track.
And Stunfisk, another one.
The Simi line. Let's talk about that. You better not like those fucking monkeys.
Wait.
Simisage, Simipour, Simisear.
No, you know what? I don't mind the unevolved forms. They're fine.
Sure.
But the evolved forms
I
of
guess.
those
They just
tough.
go off the rails. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm trying to think
thank
like
God.
which.
I was going to kick
like
you out of
them.
the Zoom.
No, those are. I mean, I don't mind.
Got his mic.
I don't mind the concept of the Simis, like to have a sort of backup starter type like group.
Yeah,
but
it's fun.
But there's a lot of cool guys. I don't know. I mean, Stunfisk is tough. You hit me. You're doing a good job bringing up Stunfisk because he's indefensible. That whole run where you're dealing with you're late in the game and you're like, all right, give me some Pokemon. Like, who's new? And it's like, it's all Stunfisk and fucking what's the little shell guy? What's he called? Shelmet. Like, where I'm like, what am I? I'm not gonna deal with these. Like, this is. I have like 7 badges.
That's why it was like a struggle in the first, I think, 5 or 6 episodes when I was like really trying to nail my team, but then I got it, and then ever since I've been like, I'm not touching any of these fuckers. Like,
Josh,
I'm good.
This is exactly the problem I have with this game. It's sort of slow to give you choice. Like, I really was just being presented with the same boring Pokemon for like a while. And I'm fussy. I won't put a lot of time into a Patrat or a Pit Pie Dove. I'm like, I'm not going to keep that. I'm not going to bother with that. And I sunk a lot of time into like a Woobat and a Sawk. And I got mad at myself. I'm like, why? I'm not going to keep these guys. Like, why am I leveling them at all? Like, that happened to me multiple times. And then I boxed them angrily. Yeah, sounds like
the words of a guy who thought a lot of the Pokemon in this game were bad and ugly.
But there's a lot of cool ones that are not available until you're at the 8th gym or whatever. It's like suddenly there's a bunch of new options. And anyway. That was
I mean, you will see when we do level check in a little while that I had to bring back a lot of beginning game Pokemon because the talent gets pretty thin. I mean, especially when you do an insane constriction
what you
on
did
yourself.
is sick. You outdid yourself. It's the stupidest thing you've ever done. It was crazy. No, it's not. Actually, the humanoid thing is still the stupidest thing you've ever done.
I mean, the humanoid was at least 3 times
more
as
options.
many Pokemon.
Right.
This
made
was
no sense.
Thin.
This one, it was weird, but I appreciated the challenge you gave yourself, I guess.
At the end of the Route 12 thing, just kind of, I want to hit this before we go to break because, Josh, your point about the sci-fi and horror writers kind of continues in Lacunosa town.
Lacunosa, yeah.
Where everyone is terrified of this beast that comes out at night. It's like The Village, like M. Night Shyamalan's The Village, where
Great movie.
no one is allowed to go out at night. No one is allowed to leave the village because there is this rumor of a monster who comes out at night every night and will run off with all of the local virgins.
After this break.
Yeah, Josh, tell me about your journeys through.
I already cut you off.
Just please give this to me. It's all I have.
Well.
After this break.
Okay.
Welcome back, bug catchers. Welcome back, Joshua. Welcome back, David.
Hello.
So we head down towards Route 13. The very first thing you encounter on Route 13 is a young girl with her wing gull friend who has lost 3 telegrams.
Yeah.
She wants you to go find them.
Hey, my bird's missing some grams. You think you seen any grams around here? You think you could go pick me up a gram or two? Like,
Jesus
Christ.
Gram of what?
This side of Unova is really going down the tubes.
Yeah. You can go on this little fetch quest if you want. All she'll give you is U-turn, the TM for U-turn, which I'm fairly sure we already had.
No.
Maybe did we not? I don't remember. But the only other thing on this route, other than the Graham hunt, is my trainer banger of the week. There's a guy here who will just give you a rare item every day. He's a treasure hunter. And if you go and talk to him, he's like, yeah, I'm a treasure hunter. I hunt treasure, and here I found one, and you can have it. So later in a moment, we will talk about the Rich's house. You go back to the Rich's house every day to take on a new member of the Rich's family. So you have to go in every day and do it. So I just popped up here to talk to the treasure hunter every day, too. He gives you some really good stuff.
Yeah. I got a heart scale from him immediately, I think, but there's a bunch of flutes, metal coats, protectors. I mean, it's like held items that either help attack or evolve Pokemon too.
Right.
Or you can trade in heart scales, it's great.
Held items aren't all that useful because of the next big set piece in this game, which is just south of Route 13 is Undella town. And we will hop back up to the giant chasm in a moment, but
interesting. Okay.
In Undella town, you interact with a woman who gives you the final TM, not even a TM, HM of the game, HM08 or 06.
Yeah, God.
Dive.
This is so obnoxious.
It is a little obnoxious, but I'll give them credit. They do a good job, mostly avoiding HM nonsense in this game. There's just really 4 that you need, except for this, right? This is the one exception. And there's
but
not
David,
like
no.
Yes.
I think this goes
Challenge
exactly
me.
with your argument because there's like the waterfall HM that you get on like Route 18 mysteriously, but you don't need it until this segment of the game, the post game. And then also they introduce dive. It's like, don't bother me with this.
Yeah.
Dive literally is just useful for one thing, and they had to invent it just to like have a use for dive.
We just don't need to do it at all.
Yes.
You're right. It's just that like I feel like in some of the other games I would so often get on some route and be like, shit, I need like waterfall for this. Like I have to go get my stupid water. Like there's just a little less of that in the main game. But I guess we're talking about the post game here, and it's not great in the post game.
It's like having to use an HM to like destroy your perfect moveset is insulting.
It sucks. Yeah.
Or lug out one of your HM friends.
It was so frustrating, like having 2 HM friends in my party, like my water HM friend who knew surf and waterfall and dive, and my like land HM friend who knew like flash and cut and strength. Like that's two of my party members now that are useless to me, especially when you go to fight Cynthia the first time. And 2 of your guys are HM friends, and Cynthia's got like all 75 level Pokemon. So, but anyway, the reason dive is so useful is because there is ruins here called Abyssal ruins. You pick up all these plates. It's full of plates, which are like the ultimate held item. Like it does 1.2x damage for every like type that you pick up. So if you pick up the Meadow plate, it does 1.2x damage for whatever grass type Pokemon is holding it. So it thus rendering all of the other held items you've encountered useless, essentially.
Well, yeah, of the ones that enhance.
Right.
Moves.
So there's this treasure hunter that you encounter on Route 13, like gives you all this cool shit, but half of it is immediately rendered useless by this treasure trove of plates that you find in Abyssal ruins. So let's hop back to Giant Chasm, which is the home of this awful monster that everyone in Lacunosa City was terrified of. It's a maze. Everything in this endgame is a maze. It's just making you walk through literal mazes while Pokemon are attacking you.
Yeah, like 3 different types of maze.
Yep. For some reason, it starts to snow, and everything gets blanketed in snow. And then you can finally make your way to a little tiny cave where you take on Kyurem.
Dragon Ice.
Kyurem is the I guess gray dragon, right? It's sort of the combination of
combo, yeah.
The black dragon and the white dragon. Tough little Mon, level 75, knows some pretty good moves. I really tried to catch him. The Bulbapedia says dusk balls work. They don't.
I threw the fucking Master Ball at this thing.
Oh,
that's what I did. Why not?
Oh, this is where you spent your Master Ball.
Yep.
You know,
I guess
what a
why
silly
not?
thing. I didn't even think of it because, like, what am I holding onto a Master Ball for? I still have an unused Master Ball, and I'm never picking up this game again. So
I caught Reshiram. Is that I caught that one with sort of surprising, disturbing ease. Like its HP was like yellow, and I like threw like one Ultra Ball at it, and I caught it. Like it was not hard at all. So I still have my Master Ball, and I was like, this thing's annoying. Like immediately annoying. I am just throwing my Master Ball at it. That's what I did.
I guess I was saving the Master Balls for like the Thunderuses and the Tortoises.
Fuck them. Fuck
but
those
like
guys.
They're ugly, and I don't care.
They suck. Yeah, exactly.
But I did catch this. My Electros at the time had Dragon Claw, but it's not super strong, but it was super effective, and I got it down to like kind of red. And then I sleep powdered it with Lilligant, and then just hucked some Ultra Balls. I got it.
yeah.
But I should have just used the Master Ball. That's dumb. I just have it. I'm never going to use it now.
Well, I don't have it, and I do have a Master Ball that I'm never going to use. So I feel like David really made the right choice here.
Sometimes you just got to use the Master Ball. It's there. You get it.
Yeah.
So then making your way down to Undella Town, other than getting the HM for Dive, the other kind of big notable landmark here is Cynthia,
oh my God.
the champion of the Sinnoh region.
This was...
has taken up residence here.
This was terrifying. I'd kind of heard... I knew Cynthia showed up in a game again, and that it's like this sort of notorious battle, but I did not know when it was. Like I said, I never played this part in this game.
Doggy, what
you step
battle.
In with the like threatening, ominous music like immediately, and then you recognize the sprite. I mean, because we played that this year, and you're like, oh no, that Garchomp is coming back.
And it did.
And Cynthia is just like, oh, have you not heard of me? I just spend the springs and the summers here in Undella Town.
Yeah. Luckily it was spring or summer for us. But brutal, absolutely brutal battle. I don't know if you two struggled as much as I did, but I barely scraped by. I had my HM friend Crustle in my party, and Crustle has Sturdy. Right. So what I kind of developed this little method where I would let Cynthia wipe my entire team except for Crustle. And then I would put Crustle in, and Crustle would use max revives to bring back usually 2 Pokemon. Because what she would do is, like, Crustle would drop to max revive, bring back a Pokemon. She would do a one-hit KO on Crustle, except Crustle has Sturdy, so he would survive with 1 hit point. I would use that turn to bring back another Pokemon, and then just start the whole cycle over again. Like... bring back 2, use those 2 to bring back everyone else, including Crustle, and then just do that over and over again until I managed to whittle down all of her Pokemon. Because at this point, all of her Pokemon are level 75, and I was not at level 75 with any of my Pokemon yet. So
same.
It was a real slog getting through.
Yeah, she's nasty. She's cool, though. Her music is so good.
Right?
She's got the best music.
She's got a slick
Lucario.
look. That was so rough. Yeah, so
I missed my Lucario. Ugh, I did Lucario in my last game. Such a good Pokemon.
And it was brutal. Yeah.
So
Lucario's always brutal. And that was what happened to me, kind of similarly to you, Tanner, where I was down to like, I think I had Lilligant left because she was like essentially useless on this battle. Like I had used Electros against the Milotic. So,
yeah.
And then I was like, oh, what? So now I'm dealing with a Braviary and a Spiritomb and an Electros and a Garchomp. Like, Lilligant had nothing to do with this. So it was down to Lilligant, and then I forget who had... I can't even remember. I mean, somebody killed Crocodile. I was like, okay, the only Mon I think could potentially just one-hit Lucario is Crocodile. So I threw Lilligant to the wolves, the Lucario, the one wolf. And then she just max revives Crocodile. She gets killed.
Ugh, brutal.
Bring him out, and then he earthquakes, and it is a one-hit KO. I was like, I'm fucked. Otherwise, that was it. Everybody else is dead.
I completely rebuilt my team to take on Josh. And Cynthia's Pokemon are like the opposite of Josh's, where it's like she has all these like fighting type Pokemon, and all of my Pokemon are like steel and ice. So she just like tore through my entire team. Yeah. There's nothing I could do.
And I continue to I hate Spiritomb. Still has no weakness here.
Yeah, no weakness.
In this gen.
Fairy doesn't exist yet, so no way to hurt it. Yeah.
That was so
incredible.
rough. I think that I had like, I don't even remember who I had out, and like he killed at least one or two, and then this was rough. I mean, this was the hardest battle probably.
Yeah, I think in the game so far.
Yeah.
I took on the entire
77.
Elite Four the second time down like one Pokemon, and it was easier than taking on just Cynthia. Just west of Cynthia's little summer house is The Riches from the FX drama The Riches, starring Eddie Izzard. You walk up, there's everyone did, right? You walk up, there's a young boy outside. He invites you into his mansion and insists that you battle him. He only has one Floatzel.
The Riches was a real show. Sorry. I was like, I thought you were just making a joke, and that's a real show.
Mini
it's
Driver.
a real show.
Yeah.
Never even heard of that.
Great show.
Okay.
It's from quite a long time ago.
Not quite.
Says 2007.
2007. It was a while ago. I was in college when that show was on.
So the Riches in this game were definitely inspired by The Riches, the TV show, I think.
I'm sure.
Definitely. So the gimmick here is that you can come back every day and a new member of the Riches family, up to the 6 members of the Riches family, will battle you. So it's a good way to get a little training done. But also there's weirdly a black belt who lives in their house who will buy any exotic item from you for max price. So this black belt, in combination with the Abyssal ruins where you get all these relics, you can make just a boatload of money. Bulbapedia says that if you manage to collect every single relic inside of the Abyssal ruins, you can make 1.7 million Poke credits, which is...
Because there's the crown and all that shit, right?
That's fucking around money. Then you can start to do some fun stuff in Pokemon. And then speaking of Abyssal ruins, it's just a big maze. This is where you have to dive. You go out to Undella Bay. You can dive down.
Not even just that. You also end up needing Surf, Strength, and Flash to deal with this shit.
You need everything. Yeah, you need at least 2 HM friends in your party. But you go down. The gimmick is so wild. It took me forever to figure out.
Me too, man.
You have 500 steps, and you are warned regularly, like at step 100, 300, 400. That shit's about to pop off.
Yeah, it'll be like
you need to make your way.
Distant hum sounds, and you're like,
right,
oh,
exactly.
Okay, so that's good. That means I'm getting for a while. I was like, oh, good. That means I'm getting close to the thing I have to get to.
Right,
and then eventually a torrent of water just sweeps you out of there.
There's nothing in here except the junk you can collect to go sell to the black belt. If you manage to collect everything and sell it, you can make some bank, which you can use to buy vitamins to beat Josh when we finally battle in a few minutes here.
Sure.
After the Abyssal ruins, let's just rattle through the rest of this game. Route 14 is where you finally find the last sage, Giallo.
The romantic.
Not the last sage, the 6th sage, because the last sage has fled.
Sure.
Yeah.
gets us.
Ugh.
Well,
Is it Ghetsis?
we're going to find that out in a second. Spoiler alert. But yeah, I guess we are just rattling through this. Giallo is the one, you find him up on a ledge, and he's presumably the Italian sage, and he's the most romantic one, of course. He waxes poetic to you about how, like, he wishes that he sees all of these people and Pokemon having this sacred connection, and he wishes he could have a connection, like, even if you're as far apart as the end of the earth and the top of the sky, you're still connected. And then he gives you, like, I don't know, some TM, and then he gets locked up.
TM you don't do.
He gives you bulk up.
But
But I have no patience for this stuff. Like I never
so
locked.
boring.
I literally forgot we were still looking for them.
Yeah.
Like I get Team Rocket. They're thieves. They steal Pokemon. I get that.
Straightforward.
Team Plasma, this whole thing where they're like constantly explaining their mission in incredibly overlong ways. They're just yada yada yada, and you're like, I don't even. And then people are like, what do they want? People to get rid of Pokemon? I don't get. Like, no one understands their mission throughout the game, and then of course at the end it's like, it was all kind of a ruse. It's just, I don't know. I again appreciate the ambition, but they just can't quite get there.
They got a cool look, which I like.
Yeah, they
is
got a cool
also
look.
not. It's not connected to their mission in any way. You know, it's like at least Team Magma and Team Aqua was like, we're dressed like pirates and like villains, you know. But this one is like, we're knights.
It's not great.
And then at the top of Route 14, where you lock up Giallo, is the Abundant Shrine, which is where you can finally catch one of these weather genies.
Yeah.
You had to have caught one of the previous weather genies, so
Yeah, I think
catch this.
I think
weather
it's
genie.
Landorus, and you need to bring Tornadus and Thunderous there, and I've been killing them anytime I have been encountered, so did not
I'm
happen
not
for
interested
me.
in these.
I did encounter something that I did like, and we've talked about it a little bit, but I really just want to shine the spotlight and make sure that we officially make Sawsbuck Joshy's sweetie.
Oh, about time.
Oh my god. It was autumn
Handsome
at the
Pokemon.
time. Beautiful. Beautiful.
Big fan of the winter Sawsbuck. I like the winter Sawsbuck.
Oh, I really like the spring Sawsbuck.
Spring,
it's little
it's got
flowers.
flowers. That's cool. Yeah, they're all good.
What's not to like about any of them? But
They're handsome.
I like that summer
powerful
summer and autumn and winter are a little bit more robust than spring, but they're all fetching.
Okay. This is where our journeys, this is where our paths split, Joshua.
Oh, yeah.
Because David and I went to Black City.
Yeah.
And you went to White Forest.
Yeah.
Which is, I think you won the
Yeah.
Did I?
lottery here.
I don't think so.
No.
I was going to say the exact opposite of that, and that White Forest is terrible, but I guess we should clarify for anyone who hasn't played this game, the robustness of the forest or the city is impacted directly by how many days it takes you to get there.
Right.
And
That's what I don't really understand, because I got to Black City, and Black City is just a big like black box with a few little buildings in it, which surprised me because I read also that if you get to Black City or White Forest, it's supposed to be full and flourish and like represent how many hours you've put into this game. And it's funny because I've put like 78 hours into this game, but still Black City was like 5 buildings and no people.
oh yeah, no, it's the opposite of that. It's supposed to be how quickly you get there.
Right. Yeah.
Oh,
The
So
longer you've taken,
we've done
right.
the absolute worst thing, and so
Really taking our time.
like White Forest was a joke. There's like 12 trees. Most of them are pretty small. There's 2 weird dudes like wandering around in the forest and no patches of grass. And then just a house with the mayor in it, and she's just demanding berries. I was like, I hate this. Everything about White Forest is my least favorite aspect of this entire region.
This is the
Like,
I think the reason you win the lottery, though, Josh, is because if this were the way it was intended to be,
Sure.
David and I get Black City, which is just full of people, and like you get different.
but you don't
people
get to
and different
battle
kinds
them?
of villagers.
I thought that would... You don't get to battle them?
I mean,
There's
maybe
a couple rotation battles. Yeah.
you get like Pokemon, right?
Yeah.
Like you get wild Pokemon.
Yeah, if the city has been populated properly, aka you did not spend about 70 hours to get here, there will just be like big trees and then patches upon patches of grass. and tons of like preceding generation Pokemon.
Classics.
And they're all level 5, and it's not affected by day or night, and like it seems like it's equal percentage of them showing up. So like that is pretty dynamite if you pull this off.
Right. Black City was a disappointment. But they do have a Poke Center where you can rest up for the remainder of your journey, which takes you through Route 15, uneventful.
Yeah, we covered this. This is where like the Poke Transfer Lab is.
Poke Transfer. This is the other thing with this fucking game.
Only people. Yeah.
There's so many things, and this is the problem with the early. I'm remembering the early part of the game. You know, you walk in a new city and everyone's like, I love Pokemon contests! You know, and you have to talk to like 15 people about that, and you're like, I'm not doing that. Or I'm not doing musicals.
Right.
I'm not doing
interested.
this shit. And like every time I turn on the game, I have to tell it to turn off C gear, because if I run C gear, which is obviously useless to me, it drains my battery and my Game Boy turns off.
Game.
Yeah, like it sucks.
Yeah.
All that shit.
Now,
whatever.
Yeah, I did think it's cute that like this is clearly the Pal Park of this game, and they named the doctor who runs the
Professor
Transfer
Park.
Center or whatever it's called. He's called Dr. Park, which I think is kind of cute, but otherwise, yeah, this is not something that's useful to me.
I did want to ask you, Tanner. It seems like you did not do this, but did you not ponder? There's someone in the lab who will offer you a Rotom for
the
Ditto.
Rotom. Yeah,
you have to catch you can get
Ditto.
the Rotom like appliance room is in Shopping Mall 9. So I sort of thought you were going to do a late game. Mr. Keepsies must worship Rotom.
It's a dream. It's a dream of mine.
Yeah,
but
I kind of thought you might pull that off.
I didn't know where to find a Ditto.
Well, you could have transferred it from one of the other games.
Oh, from I had Ditto last gen, right, or 2 gens ago. Yeah, could have. I didn't do that.
Could have finally achieved your Rotom dream.
God, I'm still gonna hold on to that dream. Maybe I'll go all Rotom team one of these times.
Jesus, God.
Just different kinds of Rotoms. Lawnmower
don't.
Rotom, washing machine Rotom. And then we're at the Marvelous Bridge. One more bridge
to nowhere.
They're like, let's really exercise the 3DS technology here. Here's another bridge. Spooky Bridge. Patrat Girl is here.
Yeah.
She left Village Bridge to come to this bigger bridge, Marvelous Bridge. And you can watch her little Patrat show where they do a little dance. And
it's like the hat trick.
And they give you a TM at the end. It was so unnotable that I did not even remember what the TM was.
No, it's not. It's a big mushroom.
Oh, right. It's just a big mushroom. Right.
Yeah, she'll announce herself, and then the 4 Patrats will like move
less
around.
Notable.
Hat trick style, and then if you pay attention to the one that she called out with the big belly, and they look the same, but you just get a big mushroom.
Yeah.
Thanks again for rewarding me for putting in 70 hours of time.
And then Shadow Triad will attack you one last time here. They'll give you the Adamant, the Lustrous, and the Griseous Orb, which I think are just useful for Dialga, Palkia, and Giratina.
Yeah, and I think that it's if you import them here, then you could give them.
They're just held
items.
They
only
empower,
work for those.
And then they say that Getsus has been spirited away.
They smuggled him out in a crate and shipped him somewhere. And
I think they also say that N is still at large.
They do.
They say like, oh, N fled on his.
This is all for the
dragon.
sequel, right? This is all for 2. This is all set up.
Right. Gosh, Josh, we still have to figure out what our approach to Black and White 2 is. That's going to be our first sequel.
It's the only
We've
one.
done
right?
remakes.
Gray Area.
No, I mean
only
like they
direct
did
sequel. Yeah.
Sun
they
and
did
Moon Ultra,
right? Yeah, that's true. I'm right. Yeah.
But yeah, and then there's Route 16, which is so unnotable that none of us left notes on it, and Lost Lorne Forest, which is so unnotable that none of us left notes on it. And then you are
Lost
back
Lorne
in
Forest is like only useful if you for some reason import any of the legendary fucking dogs from Gen 2.
Oh, right, because there's like a woman
here,
who
and
will,
that apparently is what she wants. But there's no way of knowing that. There's like a backpacker out here who's like, I love meeting new people and traveling around the world. And this one woman in this trailer in the middle of the woods hates me and everybody who comes out here. And I don't know what her problem is. And then you go in and she just gives you 3 ellipses. And somehow that means if you bring her one of the legendary dogs, she does something.
She turns into a Pokemon.
None of us know.
I believe.
Really? Which one?
Zorro.
She's like... Oh shit. Okay.
She
that makes
is
sense.
a Pokemon. Like that's her deal.
Huh.
Now that makes sense that you would want to bring it out for Zerark.
That was my theory for Getsus the whole game. I was like, oh, Getsus is a Pokemon, surely. No, he's not.
I still don't know how
it
you
was this lady.
piece it together that you bring legendary dog out here, but
Right, you have to have a shiny, dog or whatever. I think you had to get it from an event or whatever. It was a whole thing.
Huh. They went wild with these events.
They were
this era
trying
of
to
Pokemon.
figure out how to keep this game fresh, I guess.
yeah, it's
And I
innovative
just,
at the time.
Right.
I just
And
never
so they
lived
tried a lot of
somewhere
stuff.
where I ever could have taken advantage of them. I guess I could have in this gen, but I didn't care enough to go to whatever the Times Square Pokemon Center,
Right. That's it. That's Pokemon Black and White.
That's it.
We've done it. We've beaten it.
Congratulations.
Closing
Beat each
thoughts?
other. Yeah,
Notes?
good job. Good job, everyone.
Now we have to go do a quick interstitial of Ranger, but then it's on to the sequel, which I think takes place in the exact same map.
I think
Yeah,
it's a little
so
different. Yeah.
Is it slightly different?
different.
Yeah. You start in a
I
different
think,
place, I think. They try and switch it up a little bit.
I have not played Black and White 2 yet, but
I have not.
my initial thought is I think I prefer a sequel to a remake.
Yes.
I think there's something sort of interesting about experiencing the same place but with slightly different set pieces and narrative elements.
We have a couple of weeks to figure it out, but I also would argue because of that, we don't necessarily have to do Nuzlocke.
Oh, but
But
we
I
probably
am
will.
going to restrain myself somehow if we do not do Nuzlocke.
We'll figure out some kind of fun rule to impose upon ourselves.
Yeah.
For Pokemon Black and White 2.
What if you just do it where you're like, hey, this
Who
feels
do you
right?
like? Who do you
Speaking
like?
of the absolute best Pokemon,
All right, let's do it.
let's talk about our teams, gentlemen,
All
in a
right.
segment called Level Check.
Level check. Late on,
Let's-
my
Swing Bean.
Pokemon? Okay.
Hear about these Pokemon.
Here's who I've got. Well, let's start with Embor, a.k.a. Franklin.
Good.
Hey,
my
that's right.
starter. The only good starter in this game. I usually gravitate to the fire starters because they're the best.
Yeah.
But
We all know I don't like this thing, and
What?
I don't like
What
Embor.
don't you like? Why don't you like Embor?
He thinks he's ugly.
I just think it's ugly.
None of the
I'm with you, David. I think Emboar is cool.
none of the fully evolved. I mean, look, Superior is kind of cool.
I think
But, like-
Superior is probably the best one, yeah.
Yeah, but it's a straight grass type. I mean, I'm not doing that. That's not happening.
What is Emboar fighting?
Fire fighting, which is way better.
The thing
And
is that, they always do, they started doing this with Torchic and Blaziken.
Why is it always firefighting?
Firefighting, and then everybody else just ends up with pure water, pure grass,
Which-
and that's not fair.
Isn't the rabbit in what's the
Sword and
what's the new
Shield.
ones? What are the new ones? Sword and Shield. Is that firefighting too?
The Score Bunny turns into like a soccer playing bunny. Cinderace. No, he's just
We're
straight
gonna
fire.
we're gonna have a
Just
lot of fun with that one once we get there, I'm sure.
No, Emboar rules, but yeah, that's the thing. I will always go to a Pokemon that's going to evolve to a cool double type. That is great in my opinion.
I
So
respect
I've got
that.
Emboar.
Respect
He
that.
is massive. He is so fucking good. Then I have Zebstrika.
What level is he?
He's level 76.
Oh, Jesus.
Then I have Zebstrika, my weakest Pokemon, who just kind of never left the team. He's called Vanderbilt. Just just okay. I don't know why I stuck with him. I think I had others that I dropped, and I had spots to fill in. Zebstrika he's fast. He does a lot of damage. He's pretty weak. He's level 72. He's okay.
It's what Vanderbilt was known for, too.
Exactly. All right. Then I have Seismitoad,
Oh, my God.
called Carlton. He's level
Gross.
73. This is a great Pokemon, guys.
I feel like it probably is. I
Water
didn't
Ground is
Yeah.
a devastating. I am very fond of type combinations where you are ultra weak to one of the classic weaknesses but resistant to the other. So Water Ground, obviously very vulnerable to grass but immune to electric. And to me, that is a much better water type Pokemon. And he can learn
I think that's
poison
good.
moves. He's got Poison Touch, his ability. If you touch him, he poisons you. He's fucking great. He's a big old tank. I love him.
If I had
Seismitoad.
not become enraptured with Crocodile, I probably would have swapped out Samurott and brought in a Seismitoad, to be honest.
I mean, that's the other reason I usually don't pick a water starter is that there's lots of good water Pokemon in every Pokemon game, and there's rarely any good fire Pokemon.
I've done it. I've had them in this show, but like I just don't ever think I actually need a fire type.
Once Steel
I can train
the
fire
equation,
moves.
Yeah, I guess so.
Well,
fire is helpful.
I got fire moves now. We picked up a flamethrower TM on this leg.
Yeah, but I need that stab. I need that stab. Anyway, all right. Then I have Ferrothorn. Annoyed to hear that you have a Ferrothorn.
Oh God,
Tanner, because Ferrothorn rules.
I just got it this week.
Hoping to shock you with that. His name is Troy. He's level 74. Ferrothorn is incredible. Iron Barbs is such a good ability.
Don't know why I waited this long. What a good Pokemon.
Training up the Ferroseed took some time, but really good Pokemon.
Well, I guess I can do it now during your level check, David. But Ferrothorn is my You Make Me Barf Pokemon of the week.
It's not the prettiest. It's not the prettiest.
It's a great Pokemon.
It's so ugly.
But
I never use it.
So ugly.
It's very strange looking. I don't really know what
it's like a UFO with 3 other little UFOs on it attached by.
And its sprite does pull-ups
vines.
Confusingly.
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
Then ugly. I have Ferrothorn's called Troy. Then I have Golurk, nickname Albany, a level 72 Golurk. Another came out of nowhere. Now I picked Golurk because I was having my usual dilemma. I need a Pokemon that can learn Fly. The flying types in this game are kind of all over the place. Golurk can learn Fly.
Weird.
Are you fucking kidding
why?
me? That's like when I was saying that maybe it could learn Surf.
Yeah, I was listening to that episode. Yeah.
Fly? That makes even less sense.
He has these kind of wingtips on his shoulders, and obviously he's a ghost, but I don't really get why he knows Fly, but he does.
But he's also a big robot.
Normally you can't fly on a ghost in this game.
I don't know what to tell you. I just went to Cerebi and I was like, okay, who can learn HMO2? And he popped up and I was like, oh, I caught a Golett or whatever they're, I'll train that. That's fun. He rules. Ground ghost, super fun.
Yeah.
And then finally,
cool. It's like
level
you're flying
74.
Around on a transformer.
Exactly. Yes, it's an Optimus Prime. Level 74, nickname Utica, is my Gothitelle, straight psychic. This is the latest addition to my team. I dropped a Bulldor and threw in Gothita. Really good Pokemon. I mean, just a devastatingly strong Pokemon.
Well, and walk us through your virtual background.
Okay, so my virtual I just Googled
and
Gothitelle.
Let me say before you do that, I'm going to go ahead and do a Joshy's Make Me Barf Pokemon
Barfy
of the week.
You're anti...
Because I covered the other two, and there's no way Gothitelle can get away with this.
It's specifically David Sims's
male
Gothitelle.
It is a male Gothitelle. My Zoom background is a picture of my male Gothitelle, and it says, I love my male Gothitelle. Gothitelle...
And why do you love your male Gothitelle, or Gothitelle
it's so
in general?
Weird. Look at it. It's like this gothy thing in a dress with 5 bows, and then it has hair that looks like
frills,
discs, coming out of its ears. It's so strange. I don't know what it's supposed to be.
It's got its little hands on its hips,
and it's just fun.
And
to
you
send
think that's good?
I think that's good. Great. What a weird one. I love that the psychic
Did you make this background?
So weird. No, I just Googled Gothitelle.
Somebody's already made that.
Somebody made this.
Is yours male, at least?
It is male. That's why I was drawn to it. But Gothitelle, Solosis, LGM, Muna. I like that the psychic types are baffling creations. That they are not rooted in reality in any way.
BEM didn't even make it on the list, and that's an extraterrestrial.
Well, I said LGM, but that one too. Yeah, I mean, so weird. Yeah. That's my team. What do you guys got?
What a team. I'll go next because I feel like you and I had a lot of parity, or at least I had a lot of Pokemon on my team who at one point were featured on your team, or vice versa. Mr. Keepsies is a collector. He collects found objects, and they're all inanimate objects. Leading up the team is Garbage, Garbodor, level 72, awful Pokemon, just terrible. Bad stats across the board, but it's got some nice moves to at least make your guys' lives a little more annoying in our battles coming up in a few moments here. Chess piece.
Hate it.
Bisharp.
Great
level 75.
Very jealous of that. That's a great
Truly
Pokemon.
a nightmare.
Yeah, such a good Pokemon.
Lovely little Pokemon. Yeah. Ice Cream, Vanillux, level 72. Again, not my favorite, but feel like I needed to keep him around just because he is a sentient ice cream cone.
You're in too deep. Yeah.
Yeah. And then that is all that the listeners of the show will find familiar because I completely rebuilt my team from the ground up to essentially counter Josh's Crocodile.
Interesting.
The bane of my existence, Josh's Crocodile. So welcome back to the team, Incense, Musharna,
Yeah.
level 73.
I'd say that was the right choice.
And then welcome back to the team, Darumidol, Darmanitan,
Good Pokemon.
level 72. Even though I don't have the cool Zen Darmanitan, I did bring back Darmanitan because I just found Chandelure so disappointing.
Really?
I couldn't figure out how to run a Chandelure.
Okay.
To save my life.
Interesting.
So I brought back a Pure Fire Darmanitan.
Either way, Crocodile can have a good time with Darmanitan as well.
Sure, but Crocodile cannot have a good time with my next Pokemon, which is Cocklebur Ferrothorn, level 75. Yeah. And
Great
again,
Pokemon.
Ferrothorn is my You Make Me Barf Pokemon of the week.
Right, as it should be.
Joshua, let's hear about your team.
You know him, you love him. It's the famous Seinfeld characters from Castilia City.
I will say this, Joshua, about your Seinfeld naming convention. You did end up with all the main characters.
I did it right. I ended up
Yeah.
with the 4 main and then 2 of my favorite side characters.
You did a good job.
I've learned my lessons in the previous seasons. And then, as I was saying earlier, once I fell into this system with these folks, I was like, I'm not swapping out. Like, this is working. It's good. Jerry, Samurott, level 73. Elaine, Lilligant, level 74. Hello, from Uncle Leo.
Hello. Yeah.
Crocodile, level 74. Kramer, Electric, level 74. George, Archeops, level 74. J. Peterman of the J. Peterman catalog. BEM, level 74. Did I want to push all of them to 75? Yes. But was I playing up until 5 minutes before this and I realized I could not throw myself into the Elite Four again to do it. So, unfortunately, I have 173 and then 5 74s.
I think our levels are all pretty good.
Yeah.
I think we're going to do well. In our battles, which is what's next.
Okay.
As always, bug catchers, Josh and I will battle first to see who the champion of Experience Share Pokemon podcast is, and then the winner of that battle will go to take on David to see who the grand champion of Pokemon is. I have lost track of whose podcast property is owned by whose. I think at this point, David, you might be
I think I won last
ceding
time.
control of Blank Check to
I think so.
Tony,
Okay.
who doesn't even have a podcast, so he'll probably turn it into like a flash game or something. That's kind of a fun new direction for your podcast.
Pretty
so
unclear.
We'll see. Bug catchers will be back in a moment to let you know who won the battle between the 2 Experience Share hosts, and then we will go from there. We will see you in a moment. Woo-hoo-hoo!
Yamahama.
What a battle, Joshua!
I really didn't think I was going to pull it off.
That was our closest one of the season.
Oh, easily. That's one of the closest ones of all time.
So, bug catchers, my new and improved team built just to take on Josh's Pokemon did its job.
Yeah.
And finally managed to take out his Crocodile.
Early.
Kind of basically instantly.
Yeah.
Right.
I got like 1 Earthquake off, I think against Bisharp, right?
Yeah.
And then
But it didn't kill it.
killed it.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a very close game. It seemed like for a little while there I was going to pull it out, but Josh did eventually defeat me with 1 Pokemon on the field.
Elaine,
Lilligant.
she did her little kicks.
Yeah, she's only at 21% health. Like, really could have gone either way.
She had managed to survive the preceding turn where
Oh, explosion
from Ferrothorn left her with 15, and then she has leftovers and got up to 21. But I did get in when the Ferrothorn had come out. It was asleep, so I did get in a Quiver Dance, and so I had extra protection. And then I also was very fast. So when the last Mon came out, which was a Masharna, which had 11% hit points,
Yeah.
I pedal danced. Rest in pedals, baby.
Rest in pedals.
Yeah.
Good
David,
job,
any
Joshua.
comments?
Hell of a match.
I mean, I was just wondering, like, have I ever fought Tanner in as the champion? I've fought him a couple times in general, but like,
I think
I was kind of rooting for
so.
it just because of the chaos.
Yeah.
But yeah, very impressive. I don't know. I don't like these teams.
he almost got there.
He
I
did.
liked the team I ended up with.
Yeah, it's a good team.
The other thing you did, Joshua, instantly killed Garbodor.
Yeah.
Garbodor was not able to put out any of his little
But then
tricky
Tanner
traps.
got
I knew you were going to open with Garbodor, so I opened with Archeops, which obviously is faster, and I taught it Earthquake because I've got the TM at this point, and I just Earthquaked one-hit KO immediately.
Yep.
None of that toxic spikes bullshit.
He also now knows Toxic, and he knows Explosion. So, at the end, he's a real glass cannon. Even at the end of his life, he can explode and do a lot of damage to something. But you short-circuited that by just killing him instantly.
Yeah.
All right, fight me, Josh.
Yes. Now it's on to
fight
D versus Joshua, and we will be back in a moment, Bugcatchers, to tell you the results of that battle. See you soon. Wow.
Hello.
Hell.
Uncle Leo. Well, I almost had you.
Yeah.
It's always Uncle Leo, isn't it?
It was
it's always
Uncle
your
Leo
dang
this season.
crocodile.
He's fast. That's
You
the
made fun of
problem.
him all the whole season, Tanner, and
He's
it
so
only
awful.
is fitting that he is the one who takes both of you down.
Yeah. Once again, the battle between Josh and David has come down to one Pokemon, and it was Joshua's crocodile, Uncle Leo, that won the day at last.
I almost had him. I had an Emboar out, and as long as I was going to fight first, I would have gotten you, because fighting is quadruple effective against you, but didn't work out.
Yeah, you were planning to use an arm thrust, and I just happened to through the Earthquake, and I hit you first.
And so then I had my Golett left, but my Golett you had Mayor Sleeped, and it was that was that.
For a little while there, it was seeming like David was going to be the winner. Like you were pretty.
I was
on
rolling
the
at
ropes.
first. I was rolling
quickly rolling through Josh's Pokemon, but it's always that dang crocodile.
Well, my Archeops got killed on the first turn because Zebstrika went first. I thought Archeops was faster. Thunderbolt,
is
one hit
so
KO,
fast.
but then
I built a Ferrothorn just to take on his crocodile. Remind me what happened to your Ferrothorn that he wasn't available for the crocodile.
Ferrothorn got taken
Must have
down
gotten
by
burnt up.
a fire type by Kramer. Who's Kramer again?
oh
Kramer's
yeah,
the Electros.
Electros, which I taught Flamethrower, and that's the reason why I love it.
Hit me with.
That's
the
like very
flamethrower.
much in my vein of like Octillery, the X-Plowed. I love a Mon that mysteriously like knows
just
all these
learn
other
every move,
type moves,
right.
and you never know what's happening. And we just got Flamethrower on this leg,
Yeah,
and I
that's-
knew
that's real pro level.
Electros could learn that.
Well, congratulations, Josh. You saved
Good
the
job,
sanctity of our
Josh.
podcast at the
For
very
once.
least.
We did not lose to a guest, but respete, David. That was very close. Both of those battles, I will
Good
say,
game.
were very satisfying.
Good game.
Yeah.
Very happy.
good. That's it. That's the show, Bugcatchers. Thank you for joining us. That's the season.
That's the
even,
season.
Bugcatchers. Thank you for joining us, David.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining us in our final episode and battling
Best
us
show in town.
once more.
I'm already firing up White 2 to get ready. I'm not playing fucking Pokemon Ranger, so whatever. I'll
We'll
started
say
on
that
White 2.
we are doing an interstitial. We're going to try it again. People have requested Pokemon Ranger. We did our research. The second one seems like it's closer to this gen, and more importantly, has very good reviews across the board. So we're not walking into hopefully Pokemon Dungeon trap, and we are doing Pokemon Ranger Shadows of Almia.
Right.
And we're going to do it for, I think,
It's
4
good when it has a
episodes.
subtitle like Shadows of Almia.
Yeah. I think it is
gonna be
4
like a Final Fantasy
4
game.
episodes. We warned you about that a couple episodes ago, so get your carts if you don't have them.
Yeah, and pick up your Black and White 2 carts because it's going to be pretty quickly after Ranger that we're onto that game.
We got all those inflation, supply chain issues. Get that thing now.
Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't cheap. White 2.
Which is mostly coming from us buying them before all of you. So sorry about that.
David, where can people find you on the internet?
Oh, I'm at David L. Sims on Twitter. I've got a podcast called Blank Check about movies that you should check out. And
do you know what you'll be covering when this comes out, which is in 4 weeks?
We'll still be, we've wrapped up our John Carpenter series and we're covering some new releases at the end of the year. There's a new Steven Spielberg movie, new Paul Verhoeven movie, there's a new Matrix movie, and then our new miniseries will be maybe announced, maybe not, but pretty soon, and starting in the new year. We usually go by
What's
director.
the new Paul Verhoeven movie coming out?
Benedetta. It's out in a couple of weeks, out the start of December. Horny nuns in 17th century Italy. It's a lot of fun. And I'm at The Atlantic. You can read my movie criticism at theatlantic.com.
Great. Joshua, where can people find you on the internet?
Here at Experience Share Pod on Twitter and Instagram. And if you really want to just follow me, I don't know why you would, but I'm at Josh.
Because you're fun Friday cat.
Friday
Twitters.
cat. Usually do it every Friday, but sometimes, I'm not feeling it and I don't do it. But it's usually every Friday. Inspiring words to get you excited for the weekend. And that's at Josh Fjellstad. And you can also follow us on the subreddit, reddit.com/r/bugcatchers.
And follow us on Instagram and Twitter at EXPSharePod.
Oh, I did that already.
You already did that. No one asked me, but I don't really tweet all that much, but you can follow me at Green Ring if you want. And do listen to my other show.
Oh, okay.
Strange Bedfellows. We cover romance books. And either of you are welcome to be on the show if you want to read and discuss a romance book.
Do you do any
like either of your guys' steez, so.
Some fan fiction books? Maybe
we probably would. Some Pokemon
crossover?
fan fiction.
Yeah. That could
I don't see why we wouldn't.
Pretty illegal pretty quickly.
That's where to find all of us. Please do rate and review the show on Apple Podcasts and do follow the show everywhere that you follow podcasts. We already told you where to find us on social media and on Reddit. So that just leaves us with saying goodbye. Goodbye, Bugcatchers. Goodbye, David.
Bye. See you guys soon.
Smell you later, David. Smell you later, Tanner. Smell you soon, Bugcatchers.